Hi, Pete's fans. It is another episode of For Pete's Sake, your weekly podcast. Everything Peterborough Pete's. By now, you probably know us, but I will introduce us again. I am your co host, Josh Reeser. As always, in the chair next to me, Matt Reeser, twin brother, co host, and encyclopedia of OHL knowledge. It is October, nearing the end of October, I believe the 21st today. It is hot outside, but unfortunately, the Petes are not hot. They are cold. They have yet to win a game, unfortunately, picking up a point this last week, which we will get into. But we are going to be recapping another week of Pete's hockey. Spoiler alert, unfortunately, 2 losses to the Oshawa Generals. We will go through, but we saw some signs of good things. We are going to explain why it is still not all doom and gloom, why perhaps better days are around the corner. We have some standouts as well. We always have some players that stick out and need to be celebrated. And then we take a look around the OHL, see where the Petes are matching up against the other OHL's teams, and a look ahead at the Peterborough Petes week. But this week, we are going to start off with a little bit of somber news. Goalie Liam Stutska, I guess it's bittersweet. He is actually joining Shawinigan of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. He was, as we predicted, probably the overager that was most likely to be moved. Looks like a trade wasn't able to materialize, so he was placed on waivers, passed through, and therefore eligible to be picked up by another CHL league. We saw it happen with Brody Leak earlier. Was his first name? Nathan Leak, sorry. Thanks for keeping me honest there, Matt. So with Nathan Leak going to Charlottetown earlier in the year, it's another Pete heading to the Quebec League. Quite a legacy he has. 70 games with the Petes over parts of 4 seasons. 381 goals against, 9.02 save percentage. Was the Pete's most valuable player, and I don't think it was particularly close last year. He was dominant. They started out the season blowing away expectations, and then even when the team was rebuilding, he was standing on his head every night. He won. It was a backup goalie the year that they won the OHL title and went to that Memorial Cup. So he has a winning pedigree as well. Shawinigan is sitting second place in the Western Conference of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. So going to a team that is hopefully looking to make a run for it. So on one hand, happy for him. He gets the chance to play on a strong team, hopefully finish out his CHL career with a playoff run. Who knows, maybe even another trip to the Memorial Cup. I really hope that for him. One of my favorite guys to watch in net. He was always calm, collected, made huge saves. His rebound control was great, and you had confidence in him when he was in the net. We saw it even this year in that one game against Sudbury where he was, stellar as usual. So sad to see him go. I don't know. Were you surprised that there was no trade materializing, or do you think it's just time of year, or how do you? I kind of thought maybe there'd be a team willing to take a shot, but teams are still finding their identity, and you want the Petes to do the same. So I get the idea of moving on early so that you can kind of you let the goalies know where they stand, you let them get comfy. But what are your thoughts on him leaving the OHL entirely? Besides the other good news that we will not be facing him, because I think he would put on a show and he could make us look very bad.
Unless we go on a heater and make the
maybe we'll see him. Maybe we'll see him in the Memorial. That would be quite a story, eh? we play Shawinigan in the Memorial Cup, and it's Stutska back again.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I'm not. If I was
Yeah.
betting, man, I wouldn't put my money on it, but
Yeah.
that would be quite the story.
I'm not surprised. I mean, the Petes usually do the right thing by their players, and if they're not finding something for them, they give them an opportunity to play.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen that with lots of players this year. Even like Wolds probably could have been on the Petes, but he would have been sitting every second or third game. So they said, go play, get ice time.
Right.
And the same with Nathan Leake. You're
Yeah.
not going to get the role you want. We'll let you go find a team that will give you ice time.
For sure.
Same with Stutska. Probably wouldn't have even seen a lot of action with unless the Petes had all these suspensions early in the year.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's tough, right? You've used an overager, so you only have 3 spots.
Yep.
You take one with the goalie, and you're leaving a veteran forward out of the lineup. And I think this is a team that kind of needs to see where their young goalies are, because those are the ones that are going to be in the net when they're competing.
Yeah, and I think as you appreciate it as a Zach Bowen and as a Mason Johnson, an Easton Rye, like to know where you stand. There's always that question mark when it goes around, like, is he going to move? And it could kind of be at any time.
Yeah.
So now the net's going to be Bowen's, and then they'll figure out kind of who the next guy in after is. But I think that can only give confidence to Bowen. We saw it last year when Simpson was traded to London and Stutska, was given the net.
Yeah.
And it just didn't. I mean, he was a great goalie already, but I'm sure it did wonders to just know, okay, I'm the guy. I'm going to go out, put on a show, and he sure did.
Yeah.
So you will be missed, Liam Stutska. Best of luck down in Quebec with Shawinigan. We'll be rooting for you, and maybe we'll keep an eye on Shawinigan. Let's throughout the year we'll see how Stuttgart does down there, and best of luck. Best of luck to one of the best. One of the best. Well, we'll dive into our game recaps. Unfortunately, like we said, Oshawa was in town, a team Peterborough likes to beat up on, and the fans like to see that too. Unfortunately, did not go our way this time. The Petes lost the first of 2 meetings, which was the home game in Peterborough on Thursday night, 2-1. This was a overtime loss. Caden Taylor got the Petes off to a really good start. Less than 2 minutes in, 147 into the game. A nice finish. I thought the Petes actually played really strong overall in that first period, particularly on the defensive end.
Yeah.
Their coverage was good. They were coming back. They were keeping a very dynamic Oshawa offense, kind of on their heels, on their toes. They weren't giving up too many penalties. I thought their game plan was actually very, very strong, and that had it been a couple more bounces, they could have even had a higher lead. I know Malee had a shot where it snuck past the glove of the Oshawa goalie, but just missed the net. And there was another post for Caden Taylor where he could have had 2 in the first. So, with any luck, it's 3, maybe even 4-0. The forwards were hustling. So I thought another great, strong effort. They've started well recently, a couple of games, which is a good thing to see. And you could say for even 40 minutes, the Petes and the Generals were
even
matched. Yeah, I think the Petes won the first period. I think the second was a little bit more even, but the Petes didn't play bad.
No.
Third period is where Oshawa started to take over. 18 shots on net. Petes only got 2. And unfortunately, you just need that full 60. Otherwise, it's really hard to win. Bowen was great in this game. He made 43 saves. It would go to overtime, like we mentioned. A chance by Chase Lefebvre right off the draw. It ended up getting turned over the other way. Oshawa would go down with numbers, and 25 seconds into overtime, Oshawa would finish it off. So first point for the Petes. I saw some good things. I thought very strong game, like I said, on the defensive end. I thought the forwards were coming back well and covering. I liked the spark that the fourth line had when they were forechecking, and I really liked. I think we're gonna shout them out a bit later. I liked the game from Their defense in total, but I really thought Strohack and Jenkin.
Yeah.
I thought they're veteran D on this team, and I thought they both played very well.
Yeah.
I thought they were strong on the pucks. They're moving the pucks well. They're physical, and that's what you need. So hopefully more of that going forward. Unfortunately, just not enough of a complete effort, but getting there, steps in the right direction, and the fact that you can play with Oshawa, who's supposed to be a very good team.
Yeah.
I still think signs of good things to come.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you got a back-to-back. So you come off the overtime loss. They go down to Oshawa, end up dropping this one 4-2. Again, this is a game of one period that kind of took them out of it. So Partridge, again, the Pete's got off to a great start, gets on the board early, scored a minute 34 into the game. I love Partridge. I think he's a hard worker, does a lot of good things, and when he's rewarded for a goal, it's great to see. But then the second period, it's almost like Oshawa flipped like a switch, and we're just like, we're going to dominate this period, and the Pete's couldn't really do anything about it. They kept getting hemmed in their own end, and before you know it, it's 3-1 Oshawa going into the third period, and that was with them scoring in the final minute of the period too. So again, a late goal in the second, and it's 3-1. The Pete's then came out in the third and dominated. They actually outshot them 13-4, drew a bunch of penalties, got a 5-on-3, scored on the 5-on-4, part of that 5-on-3. Malie scored again. Nice power play, good puck movement. Then they drew another penalty, had 6-on-4, and almost put another one in the back of the net, but just a little bit too late. Dug themselves a little bit too much of a hole. But again, Bowen in that period, it could have easily been 5 or 6 because they were just kind of giving Oshawa too many opportunities to walk in the slot. And he held them in. He only made 32 saves, but that doesn't speak to the quality of saves he was making.
Yep.
Even the night before, he was making saves that just elite goalies make, 2-on-1 saves, backdoor saves. And so Bowen, I thought, had an outstanding week. But then again, the overall thoughts for this week is you got to play the full 60. 2 periods really, I think, cost the Pete's 3 points.
Yeah. I think it's a difference between a team that's up and coming, like the Pete's, and then a team that is expected to contend is, you give a contender a very short time frame where they take over and they make you pay faster.
Yeah.
So that second period in the second game, where they just, it wasn't a long stretch,
the momentum,
but they just have the guys to completely take over. And the Pete's, like, they don't have that right now. They have guys they have very strong players. They have young guys that are very good players. And hopefully we'll get there. But this isn't the Pete's of a couple years ago where, you give Tucker Robertson, you give Avon, Ottman,
Stillman.
Yeah, just like a couple minutes, and then they're able to take over the game. Unfortunately, so like you said, full 60. We've mentioned it a couple times. This is probably, I don't know, I'd maybe say maybe the third or fourth game this year that they could have won. Had the effort been there, or not even the effort, had the their game been there for 60 minutes.
But you're seeing the good in there, and you're not seeing any quit. Which is great. Their discipline was really good in these games.
Yes.
They only took 4 penalties in 2 games, and 2 of them were delay of games, where you just get a little bit unlucky. And then the quick starts have been impressive. They had one against the Battalion at home. They've scored quickly in these 2 games. So it's good to see that they come out of the gate ready to go. It's just conserving that energy and blasting the 60 minutes that's going to start getting them more points on the board and getting them feeling a little bit better about themselves. Because I'm sure right now, when you keep losing, you feel like every kind of obstacle thrown your way is a little bit bigger than it is. And you learn that over time. But overall, I thought there were some good positives. I don't think they gave up a shorthanded goal, which was good.
You got to win those special teams battles, and it's
the bad stat right now for the Petes, and I hate saying this, is they've actually scored the same amount of power play goals as shorthanded goals given up. So they have 5 power play goals, and they've given up 5 shorthanded goals. That's not going to continue because I don't think the team will give up that many, but it's something to tighten up. And I saw better effort on the power play to stay back.
Yep.
Jankin actually moved on to the power play. And I think he does a really good job there. Nothing against Cameron or Matachuk or any of the other guys, but I think he moves the puck well and he's really finding his game.
Yep.
So you're seeing some good things.
I agree.
Another week wrapped up, but there's a lot to look forward to with this team.
For sure. I mean, you can't look past the record. We're optimists. We will be Pete's optimists. Yeah. We're going to support the boys no matter what. You guys should do the same. But the old saying, you can't make the playoffs in the first month, but you can dig yourself a hole. The thing I think the Petes have going for them is it's a smaller league than the NHL, obviously, right? Yeah. So you get more games against your division rivals, which means you get more head-to-head games where the points matter that much more.
Yeah.
So you play the teams you're chasing more. So you start throwing together some wins against Kingston, Ottawa.
We haven't played yet, and we always play well against them.
Exactly. You can dig out of this. It's not all doom and gloom. You can turn it around. We even saw this is several years ago now. I believe it's 2012. A year where the Petes were expected to be good. They were kind of completely out of it. They made a change where they brought Jody Hall in as the coach for the second half, made some trades. They moved out Slater Cuckoo. It looked like they were kind of resetting. And then they went on a tear in the second half, and they just missed the playoffs in the last game of the season. Yeah. So, we've seen the Petes do that. We've seen other teams do that down the stretch. So I know it's concerning to not have a win yet. But like I said, I think these efforts are going to start getting rewarded soon. I think confidence is such a huge thing with this team right now. They just need something to go their way.
Yeah.
And I think they can get back in it quickly. I honestly do.
And no one's pulling away in the East, really.
Yeah.
Everyone's hovering around 500 or a game above, other than Niagara.
Yeah.
So
I still think, I still think we're going to see some very good Petes hockey sooner rather than later. Yeah, absolutely. Well, on that note, shall we go on to our 3 stars of the week?
Yeah.
There's always some good signs. And this week, we liked the efforts, like we said. So it wasn't hard to pick guys. There's actually more guys that could have been on this list. But we'll start with Bowen. 75 saves on 81 shots in 2 games. Rebound control, saves through traffic, really impressive this week. Lots of times, Oshawa was getting in his face, trying to make it tough, and he would see the puck through and hold on to his rebounds, which is a big thing. Second most shots in the league, average. He is getting 44 shots a game. So obviously you want to clean that up. Saw some good signs of it in those Oshawa games, but it looks like he is up to the task. Second, we mentioned Matthew Jankin, one of the D, brought in right before the start of the season. Records 2 assists. He's moved on to the top power play. I thought he had a very strong defensive game in the 2 games against Oshawa. Has a very good 2-way game, blocking shots. Doesn't rush things in his own end. He's composed. I think he's a good mentor for those young guys as well, like Eula. And who's the guy with the hair? Again, Marin Tet.
Yeah.
And even Cameron Gowan. So I really liked his game. I hope that's a thing, a sign of things to come. I think there's no doubt it can be, and it will be. And then Brody Partridge, like Matt said, works his tail off. A guy that you would love to have on your team as a coach. Can fit, in the bottom 6 and can probably even move up in a pinch if there's injuries. So good to see him get rewarded for his hard work. Scores his first of the season and a lot of key defensive face-offs for those Peterborough Petes. So good on you. Brody Partridge, and many other guys, like we said, deserve shout outs this week. Caden Taylor, another goal.
Strohack.
Strohack, I thought was really strong. So there'll be some wins around the corner. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll look around the OHL. Oh, I guess Teddy Bears first.
15,
So
or total 15.
Total of 15. There's 3 Pete's goals. We are at 15 Bears. 15 Bears for that Teddy Bear toss, which is December 5th. So 15 Bears from us. And make sure you guys bring your Bears as well. It's a great night and a great thing that the Petes do. All right, around the OHL, the Windsor Spitfires are still sitting atop the OHL, leading in goals. Their offense has just exploded this year with 54 goals. They have the top power play in the league. It's up over 30% at 34.2. And only 3 teams in the OHL have given up less goals than them. So they're playing well at both sides of the rink. They look like a legit team to watch out for. The Erie Otters climbing up the standings now. They knocked off Windsor and London. So they beat the top team and they beat London, who was actually number 1 in the power rankings last week. They're a team to definitely keep your eyes on. Kitchener, a team that many probably expected further down in the standings, just keeps winning and getting points. You know, they've won 7 of their last 8 games, including wins over Niagara and Saginaw, who are having very good seasons. So keep your eye on Kitchener. I don't know if they're overachieving at this point. They made that trade where they shipped out Carson Renkoff. But, you know, you never know. The guys believe and they get hot and go on a run. Anything can happen. Niagara and Brantford starting to turn it around and be impressive in the Eastern Conference. Brantford starting to get some guys back and just announced that Thomas Hamera, defenseman from the Ottawa Senators organization, he was with Belleville. He is coming back to Brantford as well, so that will give them another weapon back there to an already impressive team. We know Nick Lardis has been playing well there as well. And then Niagara continues their ascension. I was hoping the Petes would kind of be on a track that Niagara's on right now, but Niagara is looking like a very improved team as well. The East Division of the Eastern Conference, that is where the Petes reside. This is what we were saying earlier. They actually have the 4 lowest seeds in the East. So it's not all doom and gloom. Yes, we need to start winning games very soon, but no one is pulling away. Like Matt said, we've only seen Kingston, once or twice? Once. We've seen Oshawa a couple times, and we've been able to play with them. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we haven't seen Ottawa yet.
No.
So there's still reason for optimism, still reason to believe in the boys, and I certainly do.
Yeah.
I certainly do. So, shall we take a look at the... Sorry, you have anything else?
What happens. There's lots of season left.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Petes have been playing with some of these teams. It's not like they're getting blown out. Which leads us in the week ahead. They have Kingston up front on Thursday, coming to the Memorial Center. Jamie Langenberner's retirement ceremonies that night.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool to see.
A great Pete. He had quite a career here and a great career in the NHL and in international hockey too.
Yeah. It's their second meeting. So they played them in the home opener actually and lost 7-2 to Kingston. Mm-hmm. So a little revenge would be nice. They've got Jacob Battaglia up front, who's 5th in the OHL in points. So you're going to have to keep an eye on him. They've got a lot of draft players on their team coming back that have been to NHL camps. So they're a veteran team, but they're not really performing yet. Mm. They have the second best power play in the league, but they've given up a lot of goals. They play in a lot of tight games. Mm-hmm. They've lost actually their last 3 games, but 2 of those were in overtime. And the other one was by 1 goal. So it's not a team that really gets out of games. They like to play tight games, physical games. The Petes and them always have lots of penalties when they play against each other. And it's always entertaining. But I think it's a team you can beat if you stay disciplined and you just play your game. That's what my thoughts on that game are.
Yeah.
Then they go on the road for 2. They play Brantford Bulldogs for the first time. Last year, that was a crazy rivalry for the first few
Yeah, there was
games.
that awesome brawl and then the overtime,
Yeah.
goal. And
Yeah.
it was, I can still remember being in the stands watching that huge line brawl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was some very physical. They kind of became our rivals last year.
Yeah. So they've kind of come on of late. They had a really slow start, but they've grabbed 3 wins in their past 4. I think they're the top team in our division now. They revolve around Lardis and Patrick Thomas up front. Lardis is like second in the league in goals. He's had like 3 multi-goal games this year, so kind of keeping your eye on him will be important for the Petes. They got Ryerson Leanders from Brampton at the start of the year to kind of bolster their goaltending. And then that guy, defenseman's coming back from
Thomas Hamera. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they have high expectations this year, this team, and they're kind of figuring out how to play as a team and win games now. So it will be an interesting one. But again, the Petes usually bring their best effort against better teams.
Yeah. And I feel like the Petes do play well when they're emotional.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of weird to say, but I feel like when there's a rivalry, London, Oshawa, we now have that with Sudbury, who I thought the Petes have played pretty strong this year against, and we have it with Brantford dating back to last year. So I think when the Petes are fired up and have that emotion, it sometimes leads to them playing better brand of hockey, and I think we can look forward to that too.
Yeah. And then they go and play Oshawa on Sunday. So that's a 3-game week. It's a busy week. They can hang with the Generals. We've seen it for periods. So if they can play that full 60, I don't see how they can't beat Oshawa. There's nothing about Oshawa that is like this team isn't beatable. They have areas of their game that are really strong. Luca Morelli on the back end is 6 goals as a defenseman. They have really good forwards.
Beckett Seneca.
Barlow scored his first finally, so they're kind of rounding into form. But then again, I think the formula is what they did last week: stay out of the box, smart plays, just up the board and out. When you're in the offensive zone, cycle, use your big bodies down low, and just grind away at it.
Sure.
So it's 3 games in 4 days, so busy. But I think there's a win in there for sure.
I think so too. I think too. I'm gonna keep hyping. I think it's honestly like I think they're close. I do. I think a couple complete efforts, and I think their record is better than I think the team's better than their record has shown. So I think they can pull off 2 of 3.
Yeah,
that's what I'm calling for this week. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I'm going 2 of 3.
Yeah. There's so many forwards on this team that haven't scored yet that once they get that goal, it's just going to be a monkey off the back. Once you get McCallum scoring or Aiden Young scoring or Addy, or there's just a confidence you feel once you put a puck in the back of the net. And some of them just need to get that feeling back. And you get 2 of those guys scoring, like McIntyre even. Like he's had so many chances where you're like, he's not going to miss all of these.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're going to the net hard. They're getting the rebounds. They're clearing the front of their net better than before at the start of the year. So I agree. I see 2 wins. I think it starts at home. I think they're going to win on home ice. And then I think they played too well to not beat Oshawa. And I think they're kind of fed up losing to Oshawa, to be honest.
I agree.
But
I agree. I think we got some wins. I think we got some wins coming. I think we got more Bears coming.
Yeah.
So, I think we are going to see it. And I think some more goals from Fitzgerald this week. I think he's going to have a big week.
Yeah.
So I'm calling.
And Johnson probably gets a start.
I was going to say, maybe we see the first Mason Johnson OHL start.
3 games and 4 games. You got to start him.
Yeah.
I think 1 game.
Yeah, I think so too.
You can't burn Bowen out.
No. I think so too, and I'm excited to see how he mans the crease.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, that's what we got for you. A bit of a shorter show this week, but we will be back at it to recap the hopefully first couple wins a week from now.
Yeah.
So thank you all for listening. You can find us on our Facebook page. You can find us on our Instagram page, which is at PTB or at for PTB Pete's Sake. You can find us on Spotify if you search for Pete's Sake. And you can always find us on our Facebook and YouTube pages with those links available on our social media sites as well. Thank you always for listening. We got a couple wins around the corner. Hang in there, fans. The boys love your support, and we do as well. And as always, go Pete's, go!